Hello everyone, and welcome to October finally, but welcome back to my channel. But if you're new here, I'm Bubbles. So today we're going to be talking about my TBR for October. Please ignore my shirt. This is an old school shirt. Anyways, laundry day, so yeah, I have 4 books I planned on reading this month, and also I made them. I like doing this every October anyways, but like I want to kind of split up that what I'm reading in October, so it's not necessarily like series or the entirety of a series. That way I'm getting like more different kind of vibes and genres during the month of October that match with the, aesthetic of fall and Halloween and things like that. So let's just go ahead and get right into it. So I am going to attempt to read these in this order because I feel like it makes the most sense for the progression of October. But anyways, so up first, I wanted to read Hellbent by Leigh Bardugo. So this is the second in a series. The first one, Ninth House, which I actually have right here. I read this last October and I loved it. It was actually my introduction into both Leigh Bardugo's writing and also dark academia. And it was just a treat. I think I rated it like a 4 out of 5 stars, and I just really enjoyed it last year. So I'd originally wanted to read this earlier in the year when it came out, because this came out in like mid-January, so it is a this year release, but I decided, because it didn't fit into my plans for when I originally wanted to read it, to just read it in October like I did the first one. So that's what we're gonna do. But as for this series, I'll only cover the things that are happening in this one, so no spoilers, and I can cover a little bit of what's in this one. But in the first one, we follow our main character, Alex Stern. So she has gotten herself caught up in some sort of like murder, homicide case in her hometown. And we find out later what happened regarding that issue, but she wakes up in the hospital and there's a man there, and he basically tells her that she has 2 choices: to either come with him to Yale, where she will have a full ride scholarship, so that she can join one of the like extracurricular clubs there, or she can go down as being one of the suspects for the whole homicide thing that happened around her, which she would end up in jail for. So, seeing as it's her only way out, she takes his offer to go to Yale, and there she finds out that there's this weird, creepy, underground secret society network amongst all of the clubs for students there, and the club she belongs to is there to kind of keep the peace among the other clubs, because they are using like dark magic and very like deep rooted dark things, as things go. So they're basically there to make sure that rules are being followed in terms of like not going past like the borders of their world into like the supernatural world, because the supernatural world kind of bleeds into their world whenever they're using this kind of magic. It's just basically just keeping the balance. And there's like ghosts in here, they're called Greys, and like lots of interesting things going on. It's very dark. It's very dark academia. There are quite a few trigger warnings with this one as well. So please look up on that, as you should, for anything I recommend, because I don't always recommend things that are like, YA and totally chill for most people. But yeah, so this one we follow two perspectives for Alex Stern. One of them is the present time is in the spring of her first year, where she's encountering the aftermath of everything that happened from the fall part of her term, and she had originally been like under like an apprentice for one of the guys that is like well known in her club, in her secret society, and she was kind of training and learning how to do the things under him in the fall part of her semester. And then something happens to him, which is part of the mystery that doesn't get finished in this one, but actually gets continued in the second one. So that's most of what that is about. But when we get the sections of it in the spring term, she's also kind of like delving into her own mystery, because there's a girl that ends up being found dead near campus, and she kind of delves into that. She finds out that things are not just like a normal like case, a normal like homicide. It's like connected to Yale, and like just stuff gets unraveled. It's crazy in this. I loved it. There's gore in here as well, just a little bit, and especially in like the first 50 pages. So yeah, but I absolutely love this, and I'm hoping to get the same vibes in the second one. I have heard some people say it's not as good as the first one, but I'm still gonna get into it. So, and also, I wanted to show this. My end pages look like this for the second one. The first one has snake end pages, but I really like this one, so yes. And then up next, I wanted to get into Bunny by Mona Awad. So this is a psychedelic kind of like abstract horror with like weird gore in it, and it's like totally weird. It has some dark academia vibes in it. It's got like cultism. It's very odd. I don't know if I could give like a great summary of it, because it's literally just supposed to be super weird. And almost not necessarily cosmic horror, but just like really weird. There's some body horror in this too, so this is another one for trigger warnings. But you've probably seen this around TikTok quite a bit. It's gotten pretty popular just by how absolutely weird it is, and it sounds like exactly my kind of book. But we pretty much follow our main character, and she's a scholarship student, and she ends up going to an elite university, and there she kind of meets a clique of weird girls that all call each other Bunny. I'm not sure if she's necessarily going into like creative writing or like theater or whatnot, but she ends up going into this group of girls, getting to know them a little more. She ends up kind of delving into the weird things that they do. Like they have weird monstrous experiments as described from the synopsis, and it just gets weird. I've heard that the clique of girls is almost a little like Mean Girls-esque. I've heard that there's just kind of like a culmination of a bunch of things in this, in terms of like vibes and things. So yeah, I'm kind of going into it not really knowing a whole lot, and I kind of want it that way. Even after hearing like a few people read through it and review it and give their thoughts, they still don't really know how to like culminate it in words. So I feel like that's definitely something I should get into. And yeah, it sounds great. It sounds delightful. Sounds like right up my alley. So, and this one is only, I think it's only 300 pages. It's like right at or just under 300 pages. So, yeah. And then the next one on my list is A Dowry of Blood by S.T. Gibson. This one I am super excited about. I've been wanting to read this ever since I heard about it, but this is a gothic vampire story. This is definitely adult. This is another one you should definitely check trigger warnings to. Apparently, I picked most books you need that with, but oh well. So this one is following one of the wives of Dracula, so it's on her perspective, specifically Constanta. So she was the first bride of Dracula, and if you know anything about the lore of Dracula, he was not a kind person to any of his wives, so because he had like 3 anyways. So yeah, it's following her perspective and kind of unraveling like the horrors that happened in the Dracula mansion, and it's sad. I've heard it described as being very like visceral and like heartbreaking, but also I've heard that the writing in this is still like really beautifully done despite the like the context of what it's saying being like freaking horrible. So I'm very interested in the writing style in this, and I have a hyper fixation with vampires, so like, and also just Dracula is a classic, so seeing something that's kind of like new and fresh done with it is very interesting to me. So yeah, I'm super excited for this one. And another one, I'm not really going into it with knowing very much. Like, I do know like the Dracula lore and things, so I'm basically that's all I've got, but I'm very excited. And then finally, for my main read, the end of my main reads, the last one I wanted to get to is Shades of Rust and Ruin by A.G. Howard. So I've probably spoken about E.G. Howard before on my channel. I know I did for like some of my book tours, and also the book tag challenge I did with Do I Have This Book? But A.G. Howard is an author I'm very, like, I know her very well. I fell in love with her Splintered series, which is right here, and that was basically like what really got me into reading when I was younger. And so I've kind of collected most of her books, but she usually does like fantasy and fairy tale retellings. So like the Splintered series is an Alice in Wonderland retelling, but it's got like, it's young adult, but it's like a dark fantasy retelling of it. But this one is her newest release. I think she just came out with it last year. But this is regarding Halloween. It's a take on a family that has a Halloween curse, which sounds very interesting. So specifically, our main character's parents had died on October 11 years ago, so almost a decade ago, but since then, and so our main character gets caught up in another mystery where I believe her uncle ends up disappearing on Halloween Day, so she kind of gets kickstarted into trying to figure out where he went. There's also like a whole fantasy world in this that she kind of like knows about. She's an artist, and she ends up finding out that her art is used in this fantasy realm where she has to go and try to save her uncle. So that's all through the synopsis, and there's a little more in there, but I find this very interesting. I love a good like take on a Halloween curse or things like that, and I just love that. I love A.J. Howard's writing, so I'm sure I'm gonna love this. And I also just like that she adds a lot of like characteristics to her creations that I really like resonate with. There's a character in her Splintered series that's like an artist, but he's like, using it as a conduit for his trauma, and that sounds like our main character a little bit in this one, and I love that, so I'm very excited for it. Also, the cover is giving me like steampunk vibes, which I love steampunk, and there is definitely a fantasy, like fairy-like element to this as well, so I'm excited to see how this goes, how it culminates. I'm not sure if this is going to be a series or not. I don't know yet. But yeah, I'm just kind of really excited to see what her newest release has in store, and I think it's perfect to be reading at the end of the month. So yeah. And then as for like back burner reads, if I have time, I probably won't this month, but I still have yet to finish Throne of Glass, so I'm kind of making these two like my ongoing TBR for the end of this year. Hopefully I'll finish it before the end of the year, but I just have the last two in the series to go, so Tower of Dawn and Kingdom of Ash, both very chunky books, but yeah, so I meant to finish this in August, if you've heard from my previous videos, but I just didn't get to it, and clearly for good reason. You know, Tower of Dawn is 700 pages, Kingdom of Ash is nearly 1,000 pages, so yeah, these are gonna take a while. Hopefully I have time to finish them before the end of the year, but we shall see. So yeah, these are going on my TBR for the rest of the year, so yeah. But I'm not going to focus on them unless I have extra time, because I kind of needed a break from the series, to be honest. I didn't literally like binge most of the series all in one go throughout the summer, so yeah. But I still wanted to add them in here because I'm still trying to get through the end of Throne of Glass, so yeah. But that is pretty much my reads for this month. Let me know what kind of spooky books or fall books or anything of the sort that you're reading this month. I'm always open to like suggestions and things. And yeah, so that is gonna do it for this video. I will have my September wrap up coming very soon, so I will see you back here for that. But yeah, if you guys have anything else you guys want to see from me, especially this month, just let me know in the comments. But I will see you next time. Bye.